4, 3, 2, 1.
What is going on, everybody? And we are back once again for Series Yellow of Round 1 qualifiers. And in this one, we have a huge variety of trucks like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Soldier Fortune. We have Crushstation. We have Iron Man. We have a few other trucks, including Scooby-Doo and more, coming to you next for the Round 1 qualifiers. Here is Series Yellow. Here are the standings. Here are your drivers competing for this series. We have Aftershock being driven by George Fletcher, and we have Boogie Van being driven by Leah Apollosi, and we have Crushstation driven by Elliot Fry, Double Decker driven by Donald Carson, El Toro Loco driven by Armando Castro, Fuel Academy driven by Katie Bradley, Gravedigger driven by Jevin Woodrow, and we have Grease Trap with Bradley Hamilton, Iron Man being driven by George Harrison, and Nightmare driven by Roman Marsh. And we have a couple of all-stars here as well in this season. And we're going to go through the next half of the Series Yellow standings. We have Octanator being driven by Amy Hunt. And we have Queen Bee being driven by Chloe Watts. Racing Stripes being driven by Stella Sorenza. We have Racing Stripes driven by Riley Williams. Scooby-Doo driven by Callie Reed. Soldier Fortune being driven by Caleb Blood. Stunt Truck being driven by Emily Spencer. Thunder 4x4 being driven by Carson Dale, Thunderbus driven by Apollo Cotton, and Wasabi Warrior driven by Sujita Chise. And this is going to be a huge lineup here. Same rules apply for the other groups, or the series standings. If your truck lands on the final 4 standings from 17th to 20th at the end of the season, then they'll be relegated into the series right below them. So in this one, whoever falls into the bottom 4 for Series Yellow, they'll be relegated to Series Green. And those who finish in the top 4 at the final round of the season will be promoted to Series Blue. Those who finish in the top 4, which is what I was supposed to say. But in that case, we are about to just reveal the tournament bracket for Series Yellow of Round 1. Here it is right here. Just like the previous groups, we are going to go over the first 4 matches from Round 1, starting with Racing Stripes versus the Stunt Truck, and then we have El Toro Loco facing Thunder 4x4, Gravedigger versus Fuel Academy, and Grease Trap versus Thunderbus. We have a lot of fantasy trucks competing in this series, and there's quite a lot that I can't count, but there are a few FELD and a few independents, but there are a lot of fantasies in this standings, which is interesting to me. And also one crossover competing truck like Iron Man. But in this case, there is a lot of open opportunities for those fantasy trucks and a few of those for FELD trucks in this group. And this will be probably the most interesting group stage, or probably the most interesting series of this entire season. And with that, we're going to start things off with our first race, Racing Stripes facing off the Monster Jam Stunt Truck. As the 2 drivers are waiting for the cue, here we go. And here they go down the track, and you can see Racing Stripes already ahead and the Stunt Truck following along. Racing Stripes already getting a lead there, and they seem to have crossed the finish line. We're going to have to see the replay on this one. So here they go again. Racing Stripes going down the track. You can see the Stunt Truck slowing down a little bit. I'm not sure what happened, but there they go, drift off, and Racing Stripes finishes, and they will be advancing to the next round. Next we have El Toro Loco facing Thunder 4x4 in this particular race right here. This is going to be a wild one here. And here they go down the track. You can see El Toro Loco driving down the track. Thunder 4x4 catching up to them, but they hit the wall, but El Toro Loco finishes the race there. We have our first complete race in this one. Let's see that again. You can see El Toro Loco already getting the lead there, but then Thunder 4x4 catches up, but El Toro Loco manages to get some air to finish. Next, we have Gravedigger facing Fuel Academy, and one of the drivers, Jevin Woodrow, this is his first season in the Gravedigger machine, and there they go once again down the track. Can he prove himself there? Gravedigger having some issues there, and they did a front flip, but gets cut off by Fuel Academy. We're going to have to see this again. And as I was trying to introduce Jevin Woodrow into this entire season, you can see him trying to maneuver Fuel Academy, but he performs a front flip but fails, and that's going to be tough. And as you can see right here, it was Grease Trap facing Thunderbus. Sorry for the little delay there, but there we go down the track for these two fantasy trucks. Grease Trap already having issues, and so does Thunder 4x4. What is going on with these heavy looking trucks there? Let's see this again. So not sure what happened to Grease Trap, but I am getting word that after hitting the ramp, they kind of broke their axle, which means they will not compete for the next round and will give the win to Thunderbus. And as you can see there on the standings, on the tournament bracket, here are the trucks that have won their matches and will be advancing to the next round. Unfortunate stuff for Grease Trap, as you could see that they fell off the ramp there, hitting the wall though, and kind of breaking the axle, which is not good. But yeah, you could see Racing Stripes, Fuel Academy, El Toro Loco, and Thunderbus all advancing to the next round. With this being said, here we are to the next round, where we have Crushstation facing Boogeyman. The two competitors are ready, and here we go. As the two head down to the track, you can see Boogeyman and Crushstation already neck and neck. Crushstation having the lead there, and they will finish the race beating out Boogeyman just by a ramp. We're going to see this again in slow motion here. That was a wild race, in my opinion. But here they are, neck and neck. You could see both of them getting some air, but Crushstation manages to find an opening, clearing out their win, and Boogeyman will be out. Next up is Racing Stripes facing Wasabi Warrior, and two fantasy trucks are facing each other once again. Here they go down the track. You could see Wasabi Warrior having more issues, just like the Grease Trap truck, and Racing Stripes will finish it off just by hanging onto the ramp. Let's see that again. So you could see Wasabi Warrior hitting the wall, and I think they broke. They broke. For the next race, we have Iron Man versus El Toro Loco. Two of these trucks are ready to go, and here they are down on the track, ready to go. You can see Iron Man and El Toro Loco. Iron Man almost falls off the track, hanging on just by a tire, and you can see El Toro Loco down as well. Let's see that again. So I think that's going to count a DNF for Iron Man. Just pay attention to how they managed to save that one, almost being fully out, but that will count as a DNF, and El Toro Loco advances. Next up, we have Double Decker versus Scooby-Doo. Two are ready to go, and here they are down to the track. Double Decker and Scooby-Doo are neck and neck. Double Decker getting some air there, an impressive little maneuver there just by blocking Scooby-Doo. Let's see that again. And here they are racing again on this footage here. Getting some air, though, from Double Decker. They managed to maneuver Scooby-Doo just by cutting them off. And the next one, we have Octanator facing Soldier Fortune. Two of these trucks are ready to go. And here we are down to the track. You can see Octanator and Soldier Fortune. Soldier Fortune is ahead, but something happened, and Octanator cuts off, and they will advance regardless. I apologize if there are more trucks not hanging on to or not making it to the finish line there. But you could see Soldier Fortune hitting Octanator, and Octanator advances regardless. Then we have Fuel Academy facing off Aftershock. A fantasy truck versus independent truck. And here we are down to the track. Fuel Academy already racing down. Aftershock catching up. And it is going to be a close race between the two. I'm not sure who won, but we're going to have to go for the replay. So you can see Aftershock and Fuel Academy, but Fuel Academy looked like they had the lead. And Aftershock seems like they got it. I don't know, but we're going for the super slow-mo. It's too close to call, and here's the photo finish. And Fuel Academy will move on to the next round just by a tire. And then next up, we have Nightmare facing Thunderbus. That was a wild race back there for Fuel Academy and Aftershock. But now it's time for Nightmare and Thunderbus. Thunderbus hitting Nightmare, and Nightmare will advance just by landing on the ramp there. Here it is, the replay. I apologize for that little delay, but this is just wild. And this is a double pack matchup too. And Nightmare advances. And then last up we have Rainbow Blast facing Queen Bee. We haven't seen these trucks race each other. And they're ready to go down to the track. You can see Rainbow Blast getting the early lead. But Queen Bee hits the wall and they are out. Did you see that? We're going to have to go again for this one. Pay attention to Queen Bee. And it seems like they hit the wall. And once they hit the wall, they landed the ramp. But look at the way they are stuck. Seems like the axle's broken off too. And with that, we are on to the quarterfinal matchups where we have seen some chaos. We have seen a few DNFs. We have seen like axle breakage. This is wild. We're up to our final 8. We have Crushstation, we have Racing Stripes, Octanator, Fuel Academy, El Toro Loco, Double Decker, Nightmare, and Rainbow Blast. And what you're seeing right here are the matchups for the quarterfinals. So far, I think the most interesting one has to be Crushstation against Racing Stripes. But don't overlook on the other one. El Toro Loco versus Double Decker is going to be a good one. We have Octanator and Fuel Academy. It is a battle between the fantasy trucks. Same with Nightmare and Rainbow Blast. I did mention that there are a lot of fantasy trucks in this series, with barely any FELD or independent trucks, and only one crossover FELD truck there included. And with that, we are starting things off for the quarterfinal match with Crushstation facing Racing Stripes. As the quarterfinals begin, things heat up, and only one of those 8 trucks will win the first round of qualifying. And here we go for Racing Stripes and Crushstation. Crushstation is in the lead. And you can see Racing Stripes blocking Crushstation, and they will win the round. Let's see this again. So with this, Crushstation had the lead there. You could see it from the top. But Racing Stripes had some momentum and manages to catch up, cutting Crushstation off. With this next one, we have El Toro Loco against Double Decker. Things do heat up as these two trucks are heading down to the track. El Toro Loco and Double Decker neck and neck. El Toro Loco hits the wall and nudges into Double Decker, causing them to win and cross the finish line. I have never seen something like that before. We're going into the replay here just to investigate what happened. El Toro Loco had the lead, but then got cut off and bumped into Double Decker, causing them to win slowly but steady. Then we have Octanator facing Fuel Academy as these two fantasy trucks are ready to go for this race. Here they go down to the track. Fuel Academy having the lead, but Octanator getting some air, cutting off as well another truck, and Octanator advances. So just like what we saw with Racing Stripes, Octanator did the same thing with Fuel Academy this time. You could see here that they had some perfect air blocking off Fuel Academy, and Octanator moves on to the semifinals. Last but not least, we have Nightmare facing Rainbow Blast. Things do heat up when there's one more match, and we're prepared for the semifinals here. Who will be the last spot? You can see Rainbow Blast and Nightmare neck and neck. Nightmare having some issues there. Rainbow Blast almost catching up, but Nightmare makes it just by an inch. Let's see this again. So you can see Rainbow Blast fell up behind a little bit, but Nightmare having a little struggle. Rainbow Blast almost about to steal the win, but Nightmare manages to save themselves. And with this one, we have finally made it to the semifinals, where there are 4 trucks left to determine our first winner of round 1 of Series Yellow. Following along, you could see here the match is ready and set up. We have Racing Stripes driven by Stella Cerenza, Octanator driven by Amy Hunt, Double Decker driven by Donald Carson, and we have Nightmare driven by Roman Marsh. One of these drivers is going to win the first round of Series Yellow, while the rest are still on the top. with first starting with Racing Stripes against Double Decker. Who will be the first finalist? Let's find out. As these two trucks are driving down to the track, and you can see Racing Stripes and Double Decker neck and neck, both of them having some trouble with the ramp, and Double Decker makes it to the outside of the ramps, however, still progresses regardless. Let's see that again in the replay. Racing Stripes and Double Decker having neck and neck, I mean. Both of them fumbling on their jumps, but Double Decker made it the farthest in the end. And where we await the second semifinal, who will be joining Double Decker. And here we go, Nightmare against Octanator. Nightmare having the lead there, Octanator getting some air, and they will get the momentum to advance to the final round, which they will face Double Decker into the final. You can see here, Nightmare having the lead. Down to the ramp, you can see Octanator gain some momentum. And they too will advance to the final round, where, for this, we have determined our finalists. Double Decker facing Octanator. And with that, things are about to get heated up, as it is between Donald Carson facing against Amy Hunt. Double Decker against Octanator for Series Yellow. Two fantasy trucks facing each other. And here are the two trucks squaring off right here in the middle of the track. One being driven by a male and the other driven a female. Who will be the first winner of round 1 of Series Yellow? Will it be Donald Carson in Double Decker, or will it be Amy Hunt in Octanator? As these two are about to square off, we are ready for the final match of round 1 of Series Yellow, where things are going to get heated up here. Now, I wanted to point out something about the track. It was poorly set up, and I apologize for not improving the track right beforehand, but most of these trucks did not make it out of the finish line, fully out of the finish line to be exact, which is why when they jump over those final ramps that you see here, those who have crossed it will advance regardless. But in the future, tracks will be improved. And with that, we are ready for the final match. You can see Double Decker and Octanator squaring off neck and neck, but Octanator is ahead, and Octanator will be crowned the winner of round 1 of Series Yellow. Let's see that again. So you can see here, Double Decker having the lead, but Octanator manages to catch up, and they gain some air and momentum, which caused them to cross the finish line fully. And with that, this means that Octanator is your first winner of round 1, which means the winner of driving Octanator will be Amy Hunt herself. And there she is, posing herself around on the 4 ramps that I was talking about. Perched up there, you can see the Dirt Crew squad alongside, winning in one of the most difficult tracks that I had to make. Probably the most difficult one by far, but you can see here, she has done it. And let's take a look at the table standings, where we can see Amy Hunt is in first place with 15 points. Donald Carson is in second with 12 points. And we have Roman Marsh and Stella Sorenza with 10 points. And then from 5th to 8th place, we have Elliot Fry, Armando Castro, Katie Bradley, and Riley Williams. And those drivers from 9th place all the way below is George Fletcher, Leah Apollosi, and there are more drivers in the other table here, but for now you can see who is so far in the promotion spot. Octanator, Double Decker, Nightmare, and Racing Stripes. Out of all of these, half of them are female while half of them are male. This is about to be an interesting race here. And you can see the other trucks here already catching up. Armando Castro might have a chance of not winning, but catching up and making it to the top 4, if that is so, for round 2. Which, stay tuned, because round 2 is about to be wild, and hopefully things are about to escalate here. This is just the first round, so these are the points here for the positions. You can see here some pretty interesting ones here that are on the top 10, like Rainbow Blast, Aftershock, and Boogie Van. But now it is time to reveal the other half of the table, where the rest of the trucks rest of the drivers and competitors with 5 points are George Harrison driving an Ironman. We have Chloe Watts and Queen Bee, Kelly Reed and Scooby-Doo, Caleb Blood and Soldier Fortune. I almost said Sparkle Smash. Apollo Cotton in Thunderbus, and Sujita Chise in Wasabi Warrior, which means so far in the relegation zone from 17th to 20th, we have Jevon Woodrow in Gravedigger, we have Bradley Hamilton in Grease Trap, Emily Spencer in the Stunt Truck, and Carson Dale in Thunder 4x4, all sharing 3 points. Now, this is only just the beginning, so number of points will be shifting throughout the entirety of the season, by which who will be escaping so far in the relegation zone, and which one of those trucks that you've seen here will be stuck in the relegation zone. We don't know for sure, but it is only just the beginning of this new season of New Generation. Very first season to be exact. But I know some of you are confused by now of what this is that I'm trying to show you and what other videos I have previously uploaded are. Well, basically, I am making a new die-cast racing season here. And with this, I know some of you are confused by the rules here. And I understand that, which is why in the future, be on a lookout for a video that I'll be uploading explaining what is happening throughout the first ever season of New Generation. So stay tuned for that. The video itself will explain the rules and how things work for each separate tournaments and what is happening in those tournaments as well. And I also uploaded, and I have a Discord server. If you guys want to check it out, I'll leave a link in the description down below if you guys want to join. I'll also have the rules there and guide for you guys to see on how everything works on New Generation. With this, we will end it off here. Stay tuned next time for Series Green, and I will see you guys in the next video.